So I decided to do online business because I unfortunately had a full-term stillbirth 2.5 years ago. And I sort of decided after that I was going to live my life the way I wanted to, not how people expect me to. And I think as dietitians, we really expect, and I expected of myself, that dietitians work in a hospital. They don't do online private practice. And I sort of just don't really give a rat's of what other people think anymore, because life is short, and why not take these opportunities to contribute more to the family or do something you've been really keen to do but have been afraid of what people think. Not only do I get to talk to other rural women just like me, living the rural mum life in different parts of Australia, but booking in for just a one-on-one consult with a dietitian is great. But let's face it, we get better results if we stick around for the support and accountability. You might see my background here at the moment. I'm hiding from my 3 children. One's having a sleep and the other 2 are playing outside, and I'm hiding in the laundry because I don't actually have a home office. So you can do this without all the fancy schmancy work from home things.
Hi, I'm Charlene Oy, dietitian turned business and marketing coach, and you're listening to the Nutrition Business Show. I've been a dietitian for over a decade, generated millions online, and we've helped thousands of health professionals. So if you're looking for a smarter way to grow your nutrition practice and create online programs to scale your business more sustainably, then you're in the right place. So let's dive in. Hey, thanks so much for tuning in to episode 33 of the Nutrition Business Show. Welcome back. Now, this week I have brought on a very special guest, Kimmie Cameron. So Kimmie is a dietitian and also a lovely client of mine inside the Momentum Club. Kimmie has just celebrated her best month yet in business. We're so excited and happy for her. And I cannot wait for you to tune in and hear about her inspiring journey and story of how she's done that. Now, what I really love about this conversation is just how real and raw Kimmie gets about her journey building a business as a mum. You'll hear how Kimmie embraced the mess, leaned into the imperfections, and made it work, even though she had very little time on her hands. Now, I know a lot of you might be thinking, I don't have time to go start a business on the side. I don't have time to go create an online course. And once you've listened to Kimmie's episode, you're going to view it from a very different lens. Kimmie is just proof that you don't need to have everything perfect to get started, whether it's starting to take on your first client, posting something up on Instagram, or creating an online course. You don't need to have it all figured out. And really, you just need to take that first step. So as a working mum myself, I believe so strongly in empowering other mums to do the same, to build their business, because this serves as a really powerful example to our kids. They can see that mum is using the skills and knowledge to help other people to change lives. They're doing something that they're passionate about. And besides that, they're building something successful on the side to bring in an income for the family. So I believe so strongly in this because I know that what we do is going to be an incredible example for the next generations to come. So without further ado, I can't wait for you to tune in to my conversation with Kimmie, and let's dive into it now. Welcome to the Nutrition Business Show podcast, Kimmie. I am so thrilled to have you here with us today. Why don't we kick off with a little bit of an introduction for our audience and listeners?
Thanks, Charlene. Hi, everyone. I'm Kimmie, and I live in the New England region of New South Wales on a beef cattle farm. And I'm on Instagram as the Rural Dietitian, which is a fairly new thing for me. I am a mum of 4, a farmer's wife, and of course, a dietitian with over 10 years experience. So a little bit more about my clinical background is I worked predominantly as a dietitian in a big regional hospital and in the community, based mostly in rural and regional areas. So mostly in chronic disease, weight management, and diabetes management.
Awesome. So country girl. One thing, I don't know if I told you about this, Kimmie, when I started my career, I actually worked in rural Australia for about a year, just a little bit over a year. So it was about 250k away from Perth. I would drive every week back to Perth to see my boyfriend, now husband. And so, yeah, that was my little taste of countryside lifestyle. I love it.
Yeah, no, distances don't go away out here. I think when I work my normal job full time, it's 1,000 kilometres a week commute. And so that's probably why when I realise something has to change, I can't do that anymore.
That's insane. There's so much driving and time spent in the vehicle. And so I guess that leads us nicely into our next question. What inspired you to start your own practice? Because you mentioned about being a clinical dietitian. So tell us what led to that decision.
So I've got a bit of a multi-pronged answer for this. And probably what I didn't mention in the first question is I also do a private practice day for my local GP. You know, I used to do about a day a week or a month, whatever they needed just to help out. So moving into private practice was sort of easy because I already had the ADN, the insurance, all the stuff you need to start a private practice. But like I said before, the distances were too big to the regional hospital. The family juggle was getting to be a lot. And I think it was the start of 2024, my hubby looked at me and he said, and I had a tiny baby at the time. He said, I think next, when you go back to work, you're going to have to do 3 days a week. And I looked at him and I said, yep, sure, that's fine. But on those days, you're going to have to get back home to the farm at 9 a.m. and then you're going to have to leave to go pick up the kids from school at 2:30. And he was like, oh, I can't do that. And I said, well, it's either you're my slave or I'm yours. So I said, don't worry, I think I've got an idea. And that's sort of when I created the Instagram of the Rural Dietitian. I think also I decided to do online business because I unfortunately had a full-term stillbirth 2.5 years ago. And I sort of decided after that I was going to live my life the way I wanted to, not how people expect me to. And I think as dietitians, we really expect, and I expected of myself, that dietitians work in a hospital. They don't do online private practice. And I sort of just don't really give a rat's of what other people think anymore because life is short, and why not take these opportunities to, contribute more to the family or do something you've been really keen to do but have been afraid of what people think. And I guess from starting the Rural Dietitian, my algorithm sent me you. And so we'll talk about more about that later. And I think the third reason is that, I was listening to your podcast, so this podcast, and I tuned into an episode about Kate Spinner, and I think she's called the IBS SIBO nutritionist, and she's based in Sydney. She's an ex-rural girl, and she really has the mum juggle going on. And I thought, crikey, if she can do it, I can do it too. So that's when I think I'd been stalking you for a long time, Charlene, about momentum. And after listening to that, that's when I reached out and I said, right, I'm ready to go. And also, I had a little plan that I would save up just enough money with my private practice as I was doing it to cover momentum, because I didn't want to have to ask, in the family farming situation, I didn't want to have to ask for money. So it took me a little while. But we got there in the end, I think.
Yeah, amazing. So it sounds like it light, what's happened in your life, and even just wanting to be more present with the kids at home, that kind of lighted a fire in your belly to start your own practice. And, what you talked about your daughter as well, the stillbirth, that was the first time I heard about it. So I'm really, really sorry to hear about it. And I just know when life throws us a curveball, that's when it just gives us a whole different perspective on how to navigate life and the way that we view things. We start to view it in a different lens as well. So it can be an extremely motivating why for us to pursue what we want to do. So yeah, I love it. Like, you just go for it. Don't care about what other people think.
No, I call it a bit of Pippa courage. I think then we called her Pippa. Yeah, I just really need to live my life to its potential because she didn't get to. So we roll with that sort of theory in my household. And while I get a bit of confusion on my Instagram, do you have 3 kids or do you have 4? Because you say you've got 4, but there's only 3 in the photo. She's still very much included in our family. So,
of course, yeah, I love that. Pippa Courage. What a beautiful name as well.
Thanks, Charlene.
Thank you, Kimmie, for sharing that. I know it's not easy, but thank you. And I'm sure our listeners would really love hearing about your story. So let's take a look back at your journey. So you started Momentum in October. 2024. So it's only been really 3 months, not a huge amount of time, but I'm sure you would have felt like so much has happened in that time, hopefully in a good way. But before we dive into amazing. And before we dive into what's changed and where your business is now, why don't we start with what your business looked like when you first came to us?
Rightio. So I think I started my Instagram business in May 2024 after that conversation with my husband about what the heck did I have to lose. And I mean, you might see my background here at the moment. I'm hiding from my 3 children. One's having a sleep and the other 2 are playing outside, and I'm hiding in the laundry because I don't actually have a home office. So you can do this without all the fancy schmancy work from home things. But, initially my business looked like this, in the laundry, seeing my clients one-on-one, during baby Henry's naps, sometimes 2 or 3 clients a day, and I was charging new grad prices. So, it was a lot. I'd go from consulting to changing nappies to breastfeeding and staying up late and an evening full of clinic at night and, of course, getting no sleep with a new baby. So, I've always been really focused on appropriate-based clinical care and how we can make that a reality, translating that into everyday language for people. But I didn't know how to market myself or how to put up my prices. And while the service was getting really popular, I was bad at saying no. So it was fun and exciting because I was in control and I was able to do it with my baby at home, but it wasn't scalable. And I just had this gut feeling it could be more. And yeah, like I said before, let's face it, I was stalking you for ages, sitting on the fence, and it's complex on a family farm with generations and finances. So I think I just wanted to earn enough so, like I said before, my business could afford momentum without asking for money and doing it on my own terms, if that makes sense, Charlene.
Yeah. And I just sense that you had this fire in you to pursue what you love and do something for yourself. Despite the crazy juggle, I don't know what it would be like with 3 kids, triple to trouble because I only have 1. Life is busy enough. And plus helping out the farm. It is wild. That's the best word to sum it all up. So it is intense, right? But you still stood firm on doing something for yourself and helping people with your skills and knowledge. So that is incredibly empowering. And I really love what you said there about you don't have to have everything perfect when you start. Look at you where you are, you've got stuff around you, but you didn't let that stop you. And I think, a lot of times we all think that we need to have all the T's crossed and all the I's dotted before we actually go ahead to start our Instagram or, take on a client. And so we let so many things stand in the way, but you don't have to. So I hope that our listeners really take this away going, if Kimmie can start her online nutrition business in a rural farm, in her laundry, in her little, I don't know how big your laundry is, but in her laundry, you can do it from anywhere, right? And so, just take Kimmie as your example, as your inspiration to go after your own dreams.
That's it. Do it.
Yeah. Just do it. That's it. Okay. Now, so it's been 3 months since you've started Momentum. So what's changed in that time?
So I really transitioned away from the one-on-one appointments. I'm still sort of phasing them out and I'm only taking on consult package clients now. So I'm only taking on rural mums who want to lose weight sustainably and they book in for a 12-week block where they have high support and accountability from me, weekly online check-ins and access to all my resources like meal plans, meal prepping resources, snack lists, and my online modules as they come live. Yeah, I guess that's changed. I've put my prices up to a way more appropriate level for what I'm offering and with my experience. And I'm currently working away to launch my online program, which has the self-paced modules, group coaching, and, the personalized one-on-one support as well. And I think I have such high job satisfaction because doing these consult packages, not only do I get to talk to other rural women just like me, living the rural mum life in different parts of Australia, but also, booking in for just a one-on-one consult with the dietitian is great. But let's face it, we get better results if we stick around for the support and accountability. So really, at the moment, I'm just working on my program launch to offer a great thing to other rural mums who want to lose fat sustainably and support them in feeling better, fitting in their jeans again, and getting out of that mum funk that we can all feel from time to time. I'm loving it. You know, it's not that burnt out feeling anymore. It's like I'm working towards something really exciting.
Yeah, I can hear the excitement and the passion in your voice when you talk about what you do. And Kimmie, I love that you've gotten so specific with your messaging, because really with your skill set and you mentioned your interest areas, you could really help any mums. Why rural mums?
I think, well, this is a bit of an interesting answer probably. Like the other night, for example, I had a couple of evening clinic clients and we had a massive thunderstorm here and the power went out. And so when the power goes out, I have no water in my home. I've got no phone service because we rely on a booster, and I've got no internet. So I was, no joke, getting up on my roof trying to send my clients messages saying, I'm really sorry, I can't do our appointments tonight. We're going to have to reschedule. Thunderstorm and the power's out. And you know what? They get it. So not only are they busy with the hustle of mum life, but they get the rural life stuff. And I get them. And it's like chatting to a bunch of friends, you know, so it's been awesome. So I hope that answers that question, Charlotte. Why rural mums?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, no, I think the whole reason why I was asking you that, it's really in the power of a messaging and your messaging attracting who you want to attract. And yeah, you're living the life, you know, being a rural mum as well. And other rural mums who come across your page, your marketing, would immediately feel like you're speaking to them, that you get them, that they're going to totally, you know, feel safe knowing that the recipes, the meal plans that you recommend, it's all going to be based around what they can get in the rural regions, not fancy, you know, health foods that could be only accessed in the city.
And I think lots of people like it because they're pretty traditional rural style meals. You know, I've tried all of those meal planning websites where you can put together different meal plans and none of them really suited me. So I've put a lot of time and effort into creating meal plans that suit rural people because nothing like it exists anywhere. So
could write a cookbook in the future, Kimmie.
I'm a pretty basic cook, but you know what? So are my clients, like basic as well. Saying that, I have a few fancy recipes on my Instagram.
Love it. Put it on your to-do list, something to think about, food for thought.
Absolutely. Always looking for new ideas.
Okay. All right, Kimmie, so you mentioned to me earlier that you had a record-breaking month in December. So you sent me a message when typically, you know, December is a quieter month for a lot of businesses, but you saw growth. And then in January, you saw more growth. So tell us, if you are comfortable sharing, you know, as much as you like, what's happened over those months that led to those success.
I think I really surprised myself. I was like, whoa, people are actually interested in my product. And that got me really excited. And I think it gave me more confidence. And I think confidence is key when you're in the online space as well. So I probably can't pinpoint it exactly, but big part of it is following your framework and all your ideas in the Momentum Club and Accelerator as well. So I think by that time I'd sort of wrapped my head around the Instagram a bit more. And I really pinpointed who my consult packages were for. And instead of giving away, you know, dietary advice and just recipes and things on the Instagram, I started talking about the benefits of working with a dietitian and how important support and accountability are for things like fat loss, as well as trying to nail the pain points. And, you know, great advice from you as well, Charlene. I did a Black Friday sale with my meal plan, a 2-week meal plan. So I polled my Instagram to see what they really wanted, and that's what it came back as. And so that was great. I did that Black Friday sale and I got some really good success. And I've really been putting in the work. You know, you can sign up to do things like Momentum and you get the results by putting in the work, you know, by implementing the strategies that you suggest. So I've found pockets in all sorts of random times. You have no idea, like juggling the farm and the kids and my husband and everything. Found pockets of time. And I think, you know, I really started having that confidence in showing up on Instagram more, particularly in the stories. And while I haven't done any lives yet, so naughty me.
You will one day.
Yeah, I will one day. But yeah, I show up on my stories more sometimes because reels, I have a love-hate relationship with making reels. And I find I've got lots of success in the stories as well. So I'm doing a few more pain point posts, and I'm also throwing in there some fun stuff like what's in my farmer's lunchbox, which everyone seems to like. And now I've got people reaching out to me going, you know, wow, you spoke to me, or that's me. I have tried all of the diets, but I still have raging blood sugars or a larger waistline. And I think people can really relate to the fact that I'm not polished, because I don't have the time or energy to be polished. The family farm juggle is insane. And I've actually had really good feedback from that, because people go, wow, I can relate to that, because it's not that perfect, polished Instagram post that you see all the time of the, you know, really schmick recipe. It's me and my kids in the kitchen and it's chaos. So I think that's another barrier lots of people have with starting online businesses, like Instagram businesses, is, oh, I don't know how to use Instagram and I don't know how to make it beautiful. But I just show up as myself and people appreciate it, I think. So I've had some really nice feedback with that.
Amazing. So as a recap for our listeners, really what we're taking away from your messaging here, Kimmie, is getting very specific with your messaging so that it's reaching the right people. When they come to your page, they go, she's speaking exactly to what I'm experiencing. She gets me. And that builds that instant connection. So I guess, you know, if you're someone who is struggling to niche down because you're nervous about leaving money on the table, that you're going to cut a lot of people out, but think about the types of people that you're going to be able to attract to your page. Once they land there, they're going to feel that instant connection, and that is so much more powerful for conversion, right? You don't want to speak to everyone with your messaging because you end up attracting no one. So really keep getting more specific about your language that you use in your marketing. And really the second thing, Kimmie, that you mentioned is about showing up, being messy and living your real life, and being the real you, because that's what people connect with, right? So if you're like a, really nice and polished housewife who just has the most polished kitchen, I think, they're going to go, who is this?
It's unattainable.
Where is she from? Martha Stewart, right? No, we don't have that. So yeah, really just being authentic. So don't worry so much about the judgment and what people are going to say. Just show up, be yourself, and the right people, again, your vibe will attract your tribe and the right people will come along. All right. So yeah, that's really good advice about social media. Thank you for sharing that, Kimmie.
Pleasure.
So the next thing that I wanted to go on to talk about is social media marketing really in general, because I guess, for a lot of us, we have been taught for a long time that you want to build your network, go to doctors, get referrals, get care plan referrals, which is massive in Australia. But you've come along with me on this journey, guiding you on social media marketing, and that is so different. So how does it fit into your marketing itself, and how do you feel about it?
As much as I love getting referrals from doctors, particularly in a rural area, because it shows that they value you, you also get the extra workload with that. So the online claiming, the Medicare letters at the beginning and end of their appointments. So if my answer to that is social media absolutely works, and you don't have to pay anything for Instagram unless you're paying for ads. And if you can really nail down, like you said before, of who you want to connect with and their pain points, it can absolutely work for your online private practice. And it can be creative and you can have fun with it. I think about what I'm doing in everyday life and I go, oh, that'd be cool and relatable and funny. So it all of a sudden becomes less time consuming because you're not hustling GP practices. And for me, they're hundreds of kilometres away to start with, So I'm really loving following your system, and I'm just really grateful that it's working for me.
Yeah, and that's the most powerful form of marketing, isn't it? Like just using your own personal brand and reaching your own people. So yeah, that's amazing. Thank you for that. Now, I know for a lot of us, especially moms, if you have kids around you, it can be really scary and challenging to show up on social media, being on Reels, recording yourself, talking on stories. Do you have any advice for other practitioners?
I laugh at this question because I feel like I have this conversation with you every time we catch up, Charlene. I'm probably a broken record and you're sick of hearing me, but I've been scared at implementing every new thing, every new thing we do. And which is good about the high support and accountability with Momentum. It's been so good for me because I need to check in with that fear, you know. I think the same thing goes with discovery calls. You know, we are all afraid of implementing those as a tactic with an online business, but they're really no different to introducing yourself and telling your patient or client what to expect in the appointment without actually conducting the appointment. So once I wrapped my head around that, I was fine. And I love that I'm just talking to other mums like me, and I love what I do, so it's easy to talk about. And I guess I've had lots of practice being a dietitian, and most of the time people, when they get on a discovery call with you, they're pretty much sold anyway. So if you can be confident and just show up and start the conversation there, it's fine. And that first one, as soon as you do that first one, you're over the hill, you know, you're fine. And of course, in Momentum, there's the videos that Charlene shows of example discovery calls. And goodness me, they helped. They really helped get me confident in a discovery call.
Yeah. And oftentimes, you know, running a discovery call, it's a new skill. You're trying to sell yourself. It's something that you've never done before. It's the same with getting on a reel. It's all new skill set. So of course, fear is always going to be there. And I love what you say about checking in with the fear and just going, no, I'm not going to let this faze me because I love what I do. And I'm just showing up to share with other mums how I can help them. And it's, you bring something solid to the table. So there's nothing to doubt yourself about and the product or service that you sell.
Exactly. All that fear all the time. And if we get stuck in it, nothing will change. You know, your business won't grow. You won't do the things that you planned on doing for it out of fear. And I think it comes back to how much you want it to work and what your goals are. Yeah. And the support and accountability of seeing you every fortnight. I think that's one of the biggest things for me. Yeah.
Yeah. And I love that you're pushing yourself to show up as well, regardless. Right. And
regardless. Yeah.
Yeah, that's it. All right, amazing. Now, I wanted to kind of switch gears a little bit and talk about outsourcing because you talked about how busy life is and how you're juggling the farm, your business, your growing business, and then the kids and being, you know, just Kimmie, a friend or daughter. And so there is a lot going on in your life. And maybe a month and a half ago, you started outsourcing parts of your business to our digital VA concierge team to help you with virtual assistant tasks. So how does it feel letting someone come into your business?
I think initially it felt like a really big step, sort of just like starting Momentum and starting your own business. But I love the VAs. I am not very tech savvy. Like I am a little bit, but not with new things. But for me, you know, it came down to sometimes you have to spend money to make money. And, you know, I've got dietitian content now nailed, but I do not want to spend forever trying to make it look delightful on Canva. I wanted to hit my business goals at a certain time and be present with my kids. And I think the VAs really helped me to delegate the non-dietitian things away. Otherwise, I would still be juggling, you know, how to make a Kajabi landing page when I've already got that's up in 5 minutes, thanks VAs, and I've got it to send to a client to make a sale. So I'm delegating, it feels good. Things that would have taken me months now take minutes, and they do such a good job and they work so fast. So, and you know, they're already asking for new tasks before I even know what to give them. So it's pushing me along as well. And I think, you know, working solo can be lonely. And when I've got a little team working for me now, so it's great. And if I feel stuck in tech, which let's face it, happens quite regularly, I have someone to ask. So that's amazing. And I guess it's also another huge barrier of people starting an online business is not knowing the tech or being afraid. Maybe that's just me, but that's not even a thing for me anymore. So I also love that they're affiliated with you and they get the gist of what I'm trying to achieve without me spending hours sort of articulating it to them, if that makes sense.
Yeah, and they already come to you with the skill sets that you're looking for. So it just gets the job done quicker. And one of the things that a lot of business owners experience as they grow their business and they get more clients is that they become the bottleneck of their business. And so the buck stops with them, like things doesn't get done because they're busy. Whereas now with a virtual assistant team, like the needle still keeps moving. You're seeing your clients doing what you're best at, and they're working behind the scenes to get all the tech and admin stuff, the boring stuff that a lot of us haven't got the energy or motivation to do. They get it done. And so the needle keeps moving and the business keeps moving forward.
That's exactly it. And I waxed and waned on the decision probably for a day. It probably felt longer than that, but just the best thing I've done for my business in the last month. Otherwise, I would have no time for anything. Yeah.
Yeah, great. And could you just share with our listeners ideas or just some of the things that they have helped you with so far?
Yes, so I think I might have mentioned they're turning my draft online module slides into beautiful slides that look schmick, uniform and consistent with my branding colours. They're making my client workbooks look beautiful. They're uploading my recorded lessons onto Kajabi, creating my landing pages, making pages that I can send my clients directly to make payments, importing email lists, setting up email automations, helping me with my lead magnets, like my sustainable fat loss calculator. And like I said, just offloading anything that's not dietetics related so I can focus on my course content, my current clients, and of course, my little family.
Yeah, amazing. So good. Really helpful. And Kimmie, thank you so much for your time today. I really appreciate you sharing just behind the scenes of your business, the rawness of what's going on that's still happening. I don't think you ever get to a destination and go, yeah, I'm done. I've grown my business to where it is. It's perfect now. It's an ongoing process. And that's the beauty of entrepreneurship. You're always learning. You never stay stagnant. And so I'd just love to hear from you before we go. What is one last piece of advice, or if you have a few, feel free to share it, with other dietitians and nutritionists who are thinking of starting their practice, or someone who's growing and they're, in the midst of it all?
I think, if you're starting your nutrition business and niching down, go with an area that you're really passionate about, you're already living, and that you know your stuff about. For me, it's always going to be rural health or women's health or helping women feel good after having kids, because that's me, So if you're that person who has a really good understanding of the client you can relate to, then you've got it nailed. And that makes content creation really easy as well. I think also mindset is everything. We know as health professionals that it's 10% strategy and 90% mindset. So just like in business, it's showing up. It's important. Consistency is important. Work on those self-limiting beliefs, like I was saying, that I struggle with. You can be your own barrier, essentially. So having support in your corner, and for me, it's you, Charlene, and Katrina, as well as the other dietitians and nutritionists I've met in Momentum, it makes such a difference. And, I thought I nearly had it nailed before I started Momentum. I thought I'd roll straight into creating my online course. Turns out I had to start from nearly the beginning again, and gee, I'm glad I did. So I guess do it once and do it well. And another piece before we duck off is Momentum works so well because it's not only the course itself, it's the accountability. It's just like my consultation package for rural mums, catching up with that group with Momentum each fortnight, plus the one-on-ones with you or Katrina, Charlene, helps me to refocus. Yes, even with the massive load I have, and I have my 3 kids bugging me and I'm looking at them out the window during this podcast, but I manage to find pockets of time to work on things. So I think you can too.
Yeah, that's such great advice. And thank you so much for being so generous with your time, sharing with our listeners, Kimmie. And I just know in me that you are going to be amazingly successful. I don't even know what term to use, but you're just going to grow from strength to strength because you have that innate drive and you're not going to let anything stop you from your dreams, which I think these are such key traits of an entrepreneur. You can start to care less about what people think and focus on running your own race. And that's how you keep your eyes focused on the prize and keep going that. So yeah, thank you so much for all of that advice and for sharing your journey so generously. If our listeners want to connect with you to learn more about you or just chat about what they're going through, how would they best reach you?
So on Instagram is nearly one of the only ways to reach me, and it's Rural Dietitian, spelt the Australian way, of course.
Amazing. So real dietitian on Instagram with the T.
Yes.
Thank
2 T's.
Thank-
What is it? There's a
two
Titan
T's.
dietitian. Yeah. That's
I
probably
love it.
X-rated for
I
this
got taught that
podcast.
in uni as well. It's all good. It's for over 18 anyway.
Excellent.
Yeah, wonderful. Thank you, Kimmie. Appreciate you and wishing you all the best. Thank you to our listeners for tuning in as well. Have a great week and I'll catch you back here next week.